Hello! Okay, so I guess I gotta decide what I'm gonna do with this reading about, right? um, let's just get a message from Spirit for current energy, maybe the current situation you're in, something like that. And I'm just realizing there's a deck I'm gonna need. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, message from Spirit that's most relevant to you, and we'll get into it as deep as they tell me to go. Personally, I've been going through more expansion, more of my awareness kind of coming online, and more of my truth being let through my experience. And, oh, I guess I pulled up really far today, so usually you can't see that. That's the front of my vehicle. Got plants out there and my electric cord. See, this is how my life is right now, just like things are a little bit not how they used to be, a little bit off, a little bit different. And I had some days where my third eye was just kind of overactive, and that was very unpleasant. But I believe I've integrated that now, and we're at a point where we can, let's just see what happens, right? Like, I'm curious. Before the next round comes. So I'm just setting up my place here. I got this so maybe I can put the cards in and show you. I don't know if I'll do it that way, but we shall see. We shall see what Spirit leads us to and through. Sorry, I'm not as organized and ready as I thought I would be. But I do have these ready. These are going to be your picks. So you're going to use your own intuition to decide which reading has a message for you. And it's going to be pick 1, pick 2, and pick 3. We've got the rainbow organite with the tree of life. You've got the, I believe that's appetite maybe? Organite with the spiral at the top. And then this is supposed to be the 7 chakra organite that also has a spiral at the top. Okay. I started carrying one of these in my car, and I don't know where my purple one is right now. It's probably in that other room where I was set up to do readings here in my home. Okay. Let's start with pick number 1. I don't know if I'll be able to put this in a place where you can see it. I don't know if it's really relevant. Is it really relevant? Alright. Sorry. Not that sorry. I was noticing how the different parts of my face, like left is the past, right? It's the receptive, the feminine, and I was seeing how, like, I look older on that side of my face, the side that has traversed this lifetime, right? Even that. But then on over here, I look more childlike, I was realizing. So I thought that was interesting, because I always notice how my eyebrows are not quite the same. They will never be the same. I've already tried to even them out, and it doesn't work, so we just accept that about ourselves. I have a dual nature, and it's very true. I have Gemini on my IC, so, you know, maybe you don't know. Gemini is very dual, but not just dual. Gemini kind of sees all sides of things, and that is in my IC, which is the foundation of who we are in the astrology chart. Who we became due to the foundational home environment we grew up in, and our ancestry. I'm just grabbing some decks out here. Spirit, what is something foundational about pick one? Something foundational about pick one that they already have as part of their operating system. I honor my time and energy by making smart choices that leave me feeling good about myself. Oh, that's great. So, either you grew up being honored, or you've taken it upon yourself to reprogram to be in honor of you. You've put yourself into the equation. You make good choices. Probably you've had to learn by making some choices that weren't so good, right? This card came in reverse, so I'm gonna have to say that you may have some abundance blocks. Like maybe you are actually worth a lot more than you allow into your life is when it comes to abundance, money, or other kinds of abundance like love. You know, maybe there's some sort of lack belief around that still that's left over from your foundation. And sometimes your thoughts do get looping into those old patterns of just like kind of reliving, and you may be noticing like, oh, I'm just like going through this again, or oh, I'm always around the same kind of people, or oh, I always make that decision, or you know, oh, I always feel this way. Okay, so you got a little bit of that going on, but you are taking the steps you need to take by putting yourself into the equation, so you will find your way out of that. It looks like you're well on your way to finding your way out of that. Okay, Spirit, what else should we know? Let's talk about how you care for yourself. And let's talk about how is pick one's relationship with their body. Relationship with your body. I think you're really in touch with your primal urge. You're honoring your sexuality. I mean, that's life force energy. It's really important. Maybe you're just like, yeah, maybe that's where you're honoring yourself most. And maybe that's where you don't feel that lack. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're kind of keeping to yourself how you feel about it. You don't really feel safe expressing that to other people, perhaps. Anything else, Spirit, about pick one's relationship with their body? We'll go one more time. I think you do have an exercise regimen, or some level of activity in your life where you are moving your body, getting exercise, perhaps even yoga, because this card always reminds me of all those poses in yoga. But it could be dance, something more creative, or this could be structured work that you're having to do. Perhaps you are not as disciplined with some of the choices that you make for your body. Maybe you're pushing your body past its boundaries and limits in some places. Or we've got stand your ground in reverse. So maybe standing for long periods of time is a problem for you, or just not something that you do. Doesn't necessarily have to be a problem. Standing your ground in reverse when it comes to your body is like feeling dizzy, wobbly, tripping over things, You're not grounded. You're a bit ungrounded. Okay. Which is odd for someone who's so active and moving your body a lot. So I think that you're indulging in passion, but you may be avoiding a lot of emotion, and this has caused you to become ungrounded in a way. It's because of a coping mechanism. Okay, so you'll know what that means for you. Okay. Whew, the dizziness just washed over me as I said that. It's so very interesting. Okay, now we're going to look at, we looked at body. Let's look at overall self-care. Overall, tell us about, pick one's overall self-care. Overall self-care. Maybe you stay home a lot. You don't... You need a vacation and maybe don't have the means to take one, or you haven't planned one. You have some places to go, maybe you don't have transportation. Maybe you're being urged to go certain places at certain times and you're not following the urge. Like Spirit's maybe trying to line you up to some opportunity and you're not listening. It would require travel. Maybe you're just, travel is a difficulty right now when it comes to your overall self-care. And also where you live seems a bit unstable. It's like you're stuck where you are. Yeah. When it comes to your overall care, being stuck where you are, but still getting movement, still working, but feeling ungrounded. Actually honoring yourself, though. Maybe you're in an environment where there just hasn't been... I think maybe your responsibilities and stuff are that's the sense I get, but let's see what else. Let's see what else Spirit says here. Maybe there's a delay on moving. You're holding on to something. There's actually a death rebirth cycle that's trying to happen for you, and because you're not grounding the information to earth, you're not taking the inclination and the urge and following it through to end something and begin again. You are making good choices for yourself, but they're from your own experiences. They're good. They're good because they're paying attention to your body, the physical. But you have a spiritual path here as well. And something about that's not being grounded. And it would require you to move, I think. To move, like to travel, or to move your home, to end something and to begin something new. And you're not quite ready, or you're not taking that initiative. Let's look at your creativity. Tell us about, and by the way, before I move on, I want to say that it's not necessarily wrong, you know. Every path, you know your path. I'm not judging your path, and Spirit's not telling you you're wrong, but they're acknowledging this for you, so you consider this. Consider that what is it that I've been ignoring and that's been trying to, come through my urge, that I've been pushing it away as a coping mechanism, or part of my coping mechanism has been making me push it away. Maybe I should look at it again. You have free will, and you're doing this journey at your pace, right? So Spirit's gonna give you that urge for as long as they need to. They're not, beating you up or sighing because you're not catching on. They're just gonna give it to you until you do catch on, because that's what the plan was for your soul, or they wouldn't be doing it. But it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong, because what you're in, the cycle you're in, maybe you needed to have it again so you could learn more from it. tell us about the creativity. The phoenix rises into joyful abundance. Yeah, even your soul, your creative soul, I think you feel it. You feel like that it's going to be this great thing and that you're just going to be so happy to shed those things, but you just haven't done it yet. And maybe it's because you just don't see the point. You just didn't see the turn. It's like if you had a choice, this was in reverse. It doesn't look like you have a choice to you. For whatever reason, it does not look like you have a choice. I have a feeling it's because of a coping mechanism you're using, which is also keeping you ungrounded and maybe just like only in passion, right? You're waiting to be passionately moved towards a direction, but that is not how this is going to go. Your passion is not the thing going to lead you. Your intuition is going to lead you. Your spirit is going to lead you. Your passion is coming from your desire. That is an important ingredient. However, does your belief match that desire so that it can come in? Does your belief say, yes, you can have that? Hold on a moment, please. Wow. So I just had this like throat chakra attack, really. And so I think what that was showing me was like when we looked at that sexuality, your primal energy, and then like we talked about how you were kind of keeping it to yourself and not expressing it. These urges you have, I don't think they're welcomed in the environment you're in. So you have to leave something that's very comfortable and familiar behind to pursue it. And I think you've probably always known that throat chakra was a bit blocked, that there was no room for you to express. So when you're honoring yourself, you're kind of doing it for yourself, by yourself. And maybe that's why you're staying home a lot and stuff like that. But it's blocking your abundance flow. It's actually, perpetuating the cycle of lack, okay? Let's ask about what is their spirit trying to tell them? What is their spirit trying to tell them? Yeah, it is about your feelings. Honor and trust your feelings. So it's emotions maybe were not allowed in your upbringing. Like, in order to cope, perhaps you had to either shut them down, make them on the back burner, predominantly use your logical mind to navigate. But because you've done this, the mental has kind of taken over a bit, I think. And you have this creativity, and I think you know it, but I think you're doing it more in private or something. It doesn't have to be creativity for someone else or anything. Like, it's not wrong. But I just feel like, yeah, something stifled you. Something here has made it hard for you to be expressive about who you really are. Who you really are. Which is the equivalent of where you've been and where you are. It's like you're the phoenix rising out of the ashes. You are leaving behind something, that is over. And that's really hard. I've been through that cycle too, and it's very difficult. But sometimes the same people can come back to you in a higher way, So not all is lost, and you don't have to burn things down necessarily, even though you're going to be rising from the ashes. But you just have to do that internally, and you're really good at doing things internally. So internally, what do you need to address in order for you to be okay to let that stuff go, right? And it says, so besides honoring and trusting your feelings, we've got, this is your life's purpose. Everything you've been doing up to this point, the struggles, the obstacles, what you've learned through the experiences you've had, including being stuck and not being around an environment that is conducive to your self-expression, is all part of your life's purpose. There's something that you wanted to learn here as a soul to be utilized towards your purpose here. Okay? And we're going to get this one more card from the Starseed Oracle regarding the highest view and what... Oh, I guess we're getting 3 cards. What Spirit has been trying to tell you? I don't know if I want to take this in reverse or not. Hierith, longing for home, homesick for the stars. So this card actually reminds me that, you know, those of us who are here from other star systems, you know, we're bringing in knowledge from other realms. It's like we can't go home. This is our turn on Earth. Earth is our home right now. So bring what we know to Earth, which is what you're doing. You're finding a way to ground something that hasn't been grounded here before. That's why it's hard. That's why there's no room. You're making the room. Okay? By rising above, looking with the bigger picture view. Then you got the Seas of Minnetonka. Or Mintaka. Seeing potential, bringing unconscious to light. Yes, so where are the blocks keeping you from expressing? And then can you go right for that, untangle those, and then proceed? And this is literally the stuff that you're going to need for your life's purpose. Learning how to do this yourself. Seeing the potential and then bringing the unconscious to light. Because any block, any comfort zone, any coping mechanism, all in your subconscious, all waiting to be explored. And then you got big picture thinking. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Yeah. When you rise above and you see it all from that view, having broken free, looking at all the components, you're going to get an inspired idea here that's actually your life's purpose. It's what you're doing here on Earth. So you're right on track. Your soul is just urging you forward to the next step. Right? Okay. Now we are going to... Let's ask for a couple advice. You got the Raven, magic. Own your power. You know you have power. I mean, how else could you sustain what you're doing? You know, you're keeping it together without having honored the emotional part of you, or the emotions that are wanting to be honored. That means you're carrying extra baggage of that while you're doing everything you're doing. So it's only going to get easier from here. You will integrate all of that stuff you've been carrying, and then it becomes power. When you're carrying it as a bag, it just becomes heavy and heavier by design, so that you finally deal with it. You're forced to slow down. You're forced to feel confused and overwhelmed, so you have to sort it out. You're very logical. You're very mind-oriented, I can see, so you will figure this out. Just allowing the room for you to do that. Fox, adaptability. Adapt to the changes that are happening. Okay, something is ending here. That we got that, you know, you've been delaying it or not wanting it. It's been comfortable where you are. I mean, it makes sense, right? You've been coping just fine. Things are going okay, like on the surface here. But you have a soul's purpose here. You're here for something else, so things are going to change. There is going to be a fresh start. That means a death, rebirth cycle is happening with you. That's how you rise as the phoenix. A part of you dies. It's been called ego death. It's like our whole ego doesn't die. It's like a little part of us, a little belief system, a little coping mechanism that used to be there to operate from, which we learned from. We integrate the lesson of what it's like to operate in that way, to think that way, to live under that belief, and then once we integrate it, which is accepting and validating the part of us who experienced it, we can then see above it And then we decide how we want to utilize that energy. Do we want to use that energy the same way we always had? Or now we're not going to be, our view is not going to be filtered by that energy, so we're going to hear what our spirit's trying to say, and we'll be able to follow our urge when it comes. Okay? And I think 1 or 2 more cards here. Oh. It's hard not to fall in love with your spirit, by the way, because I just see you as, I know someone like you. And it was just someone I loved very much, and who, this is what I wanted for that person all the time. Possess self-confidence. The person I'm thinking of was able to fake it very well. I knew he was capable of much more. Feel joy in all you do. And I think that's like something that's your soul knows and likes and will do. Like, you know how to have fun, you know how to indulge in the passionate things, but now let yourself feel joy from that higher view without all the baggage. It's going to be easier and easier to feel that joy. So even make the process of letting go joyful in any way that you possibly can. Right? Celebrate how far you've come. Celebrate that you're being like graduated to a new level. That's a joyful experience. Sometimes these are bittersweet, like when you graduate from high school, and I mean, I imagine when you have a lot of friends, it's sad to graduate from high school because you're leaving them behind, you're going off to college, everyone's doing their thing, right? Well, you can't just stay in high school because you have friends there, right? Like, you have to grow and learn and go off and have your life, and that's where you're at. Okay? Okay. Pick one. That's awesome. It's a beautiful reading. I'm just delighted that you exist. I'm happy for you in the part of your journey where you're at. It looks like you're a beautiful soul with a very big vision, you know? And all the capability, everything you need to complete the vision too is like there too, right? So that's nice. Yeah. Well done, well done. Thank you for spending your time with me. And maybe we'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. Now we're going to go to pick number 2. Pick number 2. Thank you for joining me. I think I need to pause just for a minute and clear the energy, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, pick 2. Okay. Whew. I need to ground a little bit here, so I'm going to include you in this grounding, and this is a technique that Donna Eden teaches, and she says, and it always helps me, so I'm going to share with you, but she says this causes cords to go right down into the earth. And so I also imagine them, because we can direct energy with our intention. So I tell the energy, yes, we're grounding. And I go right into the center of the earth while tapping on my cheekbones. I should have, could have done this for the last pile, because there was a grounding issue there, but I either just became ungrounded reading their energy, or we have a continuation of that. And that would not surprise me, actually, because, you know, things are getting intense up here, right? I don't think I included it in the intro, but I think I said it in pile 1, where my third eye was just kind of being overactive for a bit, and it was very unpleasant. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is pick 2's body care, your relationship with your body. Tell us about pick 2's relationship with their body. Maybe it's been getting into awkward positions. Maybe not moving forward on things the way like that you want to. Instead, just like focusing on having fun. Yeah. Feels true. That's great. Having fun. Just being your own unique self. I think that you are dancing and stuff, and just like maybe at a pause. You're being really nice to yourself though. Like, you're not neglecting yourself with this pause. I think you're at kind of a place where you're just like, okay, let's be together, body, and what do you need? And body needs to move, and so you move. Like, I think you are honoring your body. That's wonderful. Love it. Let's look at pick two's overall self-care. Your overall self-care. I think you're standing up for yourself where you need to, like asserting yourself and your needs in whatever relationships and situations you find yourself in. And you are at the end of certain cycles where things are coming to an end, like you're letting go of just things that you know you've done. They're out of season, so to speak. They're like, maybe you're also harvesting like the fruits of your labors and stuff like that. You're like collecting things that you had lent out, or money that you had like lent out, and like bringing it back in and things like that. It may be a pregnancy, but maybe it is just treating your body as if it is this precious, like precious cargo delivery device, like this precious birthing of new things. This, maybe it's a very new way that you're caring for your life, as if you just given birth to a new life, a new way of being. All right. So maybe this is like you're coming back from pile one later down the line when you've birthed your new life. Maybe it's like the next step from pile one. But let's go back to your reading. We're going to look at creativity. Tell us about I think your creativity is really like flowing and wanting to be expressed and coming out every which way, and you're getting great ideas. Maybe you're even a little bit too serious about all of it. Like maybe you made creativity your focus. It's like maybe like it's a job almost, and you might need to lighten up about it. Like it's like taking over in a way. We got a lot of rainbows here, so it's like it's like you're trying to bridge something from higher realms here. Yeah, and you're doing it through your creativity, but like maybe it's like your main focus, and maybe that you just need to lighten it up a little bit, so that what you really want to bring comes in. Because maybe it's also that because it is like your job in a way, maybe it's like a lot of pressure to perform, a lot of pressure to get it done the right way, and like really there's something else that wants to come through you that's being like, you can't quite get that thing to come through because of the way you're handling your creativity with either like too much structure or like no structure, something like that. Yeah, there's totally something more that wants to come through you in your creativity, that you're working up to. You haven't brought it yet. I think there might be self-doubt. I think it's like Like maybe you had an inspired idea. Oh, I have my spider up in the corner over there weaving her web. So as I say, your words create worlds. I want to say, like, you know, if you have self-doubts and you've been telling yourself, oh, well, I can't make this happen, or, you know, anything like that, any words that you've been saying, whether to yourself or to another, expressing difficulty or awkwardness or disbelief in self or stuff like that, that's something that may be holding you back, right? You have like a soul that's very creative too, and I think you've just been doing creativity from a very grounded level, right? It's like, what is the accepted creativity that is allowed on this earth with the current culture and community that we have? But your soul wants to bring something else. You have, your greatest work is your legendary legacy, and this came in reverse, so that means you haven't done it yet, and there is something here. And if it's a legacy, that means it's like yours, right? It's like something you brought. And look, this came in reverse too. Deliver your greatest gift to the world. I believe you have not done it yet. And this came in reverse. To be enlightened, lighten up. Okay, that's why I'm getting the feeling that it's just been a little bit serious or a little bit too structured, and it wants more freedom, and that if there are any doubts or any words that are being spoken within or without that are going to stop you from thinking that you can make it happen, you know, that's something to look at for you, okay? So, wonderful that you're so creative. Lovely that you're in tune here enough that you would understand that it's worthwhile to look at these blocks. And I do think that you are, like, everything you're going through is preparing you for what you're about to do. But we did get in your overall self-care, ask for what you want. So, and it's saying your words create worlds. So you're specifically at a juncture in your journey that it's time to state it, create it, put it into being through your words. You know, not necessarily like telling the world what you're going to do, but like telling yourself that you can do it. When you know, don't present it to people who are doubtful. Write it. I had a big breakthrough yesterday when I finally took Spirit's advice to write a new story for myself. And I didn't feel like writing it, so I recorded it. I hit record, and I told my new story. And it came out very poetically. It came out like I was Hermes, like channeling, basically. And it would just, like, talked about this new life that I was stepping into. And then I skipped up to another timeline, because that was all I needed to do to get off the timeline I was on, where I was feeling disempowered, and I had to clean up those parts of myself. So I basically alchemized those parts of myself by telling the new story. I made a bridge for her to come to this new timeline where more possibilities and opportunities exist. Okay? Okay. Oh, something I did for the last reading, which I didn't do for you. I'm going to do it now. Would have been good to start with, but what is something that's in your foundation that does exist? Oh, that you are writing your own story. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. So this card is just the author's card for the deck, right? I kept it in here because I knew it was going to signify writing your own story, being an author. And we just talked about writing our own story. And we talked about this in the context of in your foundation already exists. So all that's happening here is you've written a story, you've been living it, right? That's beautiful. Now you know the power of your word. What story do you want to create now? Anything else about the foundation? I think you've been trying to manage the universe. You haven't, like, let divine timing put you in the flow. I think you've been just really being in a structured way of, like, I'm going to be creative from this time to this time every day, and I need to sell this much art to make ends meet, or you know, I need to do this many festivals, or I'm just saying all that because you're a creative soul. I don't know why they're giving me those examples, but you probably know. But it's like if you're kicking up your heels, and I just kind of get that vibe. Maybe there are certain distractions. That call says potential spam. So, but this card came in reverse. I trust in the perfection of divine timing and allow my life to unfold as it should. And this birds signify communication and air travel. So it is about the story, and it's probably an ancestral pattern of lack that you were born into for a purpose. You know, you needed to be grounded. You needed to learn certain things to be here. Like there's a certain amount of density that we have to agree to take on to come here to Earth, right? And now it's just time to, you know, rewrite it. And in your foundational writing, you haven't allowed for that trust in God or flow or source or however you want to call it. Yeah, I think you might be a little bit rough on yourself. Even though we did start out with being kind to your body, maybe there are times where you self-sabotage because there's still a belief in there of being a little bit too structured. A little bit too structured with yourself, maybe. I am gentle with myself in reverse. Maybe the kindness to yourself that you're giving yourself now is in an effort to offset what you know needed to happen. One moment. Like you recognize that your programming showed that you had this rigidity with yourself, and so you've been making efforts to be kind to yourself. However, the unkindness can be integrated to allow less effort, right? Because if you have a program of being unkind to self, and you're trying to overcome it by just being kind to self without integrating the reason that you are unkind to self in the first place, then you're exuding a lot of effort to try to compensate for the programming, when you could go into the programming with that creative mind you have, acknowledge it, validate why you feel that way, where it came from in your core, right? Like what was happening in your environment that you decided that, you know, self-deprecation was going to be part of your program. Probably people around you were doing it. That's, you know, it's part of a lot of people's programming. And then accept that that's part of your programming. So now you're not like fighting against it anymore. Oh, wow. And then love yourself. Love the part of you that needs the love that they never got and the acceptance they never got. Like that was programmed to be unkind to self. There's a spider just like hanging from the ceiling, kind of almost over my bed. But that's 2 spiders weaving here during this reading. So I don't know if spider is a spirit totem of yours. I really enjoy spiders, except when they do that when I'm laying in bed. That happened to me the other day. And since this is one of those ones that likes to drop down, I'm going to remove her to outside, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's been like 3 distractions just in your reading alone, right? Just like maybe you're experiencing that too, right? As I celebrate and support the financial success of others, I open my life to even more good. That's something that's already part of your foundation. Yeah, I think it is easy for you to serve others, easy for others to distract you, easy for others to need from you and you jump. But maybe there's a need to put yourself in the equation, right? And Not let yourself have so many distractions. Not let yourself have so many directions that your creativity's pulling you in. Excuse me. Yeah, some of this may be hard to digest, right? Okay. The next thing we're going to look at is, what is Spirit's view? What is Spirit's view of how you're doing at this time? I mean, of course they think you're doing well, but let's see what they have to say, right? Spirit thinks that you haven't made a commitment. You haven't committed to something. Maybe to bringing that creation, the one that you may have had doubts about, in. Maybe Spirit wants you to commit to that because they're noticing that you hadn't made a commitment. We're just going to get a card from the Starseed Oracle. Weight of the world. Oh yes, oh yes. Boundaries. Let it go. It's not yours to carry. Make a commitment to yourself, to your vision, and not to the distractions of others. Okay? Let them, don't enable them, let them fend for themselves a bit. Or find someone who's more able to help them without the detriment to their own self, you know what I mean? Have more agreements with yourself on what you're willing to do and accept and be distracted by. Rewrite the story, that's all. Rewrite the story. That's all you're doing. Okay, some advice for pick 2. Moose, authority. You know what is best for you. Yeah. You can probably feel it when you make a commitment to somebody to do something, and it's like you feel it in your gut, like, oh, now I have to not do what I was going to do or whatever, you know? Owl, omens. Pay attention to signs. Yeah, you're very creative, so that means you're in the receptive mode. That means you get signs. You are being guided, and you know it. And sometimes you're being distracted from following your guidance because you might be rescuing others, right? Being distracted by others. Maybe even their want to have fun. Set your intentions. Okay, that's why you're writing the new story. Because the universe needs to know what you're intending. Ask for it. And then, oh, you are never alone. Yeah. Maybe you've been people pleasing to have this importance, to have the value, because in your home life that was your role, to serve others. That made you feel happy. And maybe there are just hidden ways that you're continuing that so as to keep a place in people's lives. However, this is saying, like, you have this whole spiritual team too, and you're not alone, and they're trying to advise you towards your goal from the bigger picture view that they have. Okay? So you're not alone here, you're on a mission, and there's stuff to do with that mission when you're ready. Okay? Well, very interesting. I love the creativity that you're bringing here. I'm very excited. I wish I could know, like, what you're creating, what you're inspired to, what you've been learning and doing, and I'm excited because I know that it's going to be something, you know, forward-thinking and helpful for the world. And I can tell that you're a kind, good heart, and that you're obviously conscious and aware enough to do the good work for yourself, to free yourself from any of the limitations that you came to experience so that you can proceed through to your higher calling. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. I hope this was helpful to you in some way, and maybe we'll see you next time. Okay, pick 3. Here you are, pick 3. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So pick 3. Let's talk about what is at your foundation. Something that already exists in your foundation of who you are when you came here, or due to the household you came into. I think you are very logical and maybe like based in cause and effect, like work hard, make money, maybe there's been just like a lot of struggle and no miracles. Like miracles have not been programmed into you as a possibility, perhaps. But it's like you take the responsibility onto yourself. You're not like putting your faith in some higher power or some twist of fate to handle things for you, I feel like. But you are kind, soft, and gentle to yourself. You understand that people have needs. You're careful with your words. You're respectful of you're empathetic, you know. But I think in the household you're in, what's the miracles is in reverse here. So, yeah, I just think that there was whatever was happening was making it hard for you to believe in miracles. I tell the truth with grace and love, and my relationships are transformed. Yes, I think you learned the value in being honest. And I honor my time and energy by making smart choices that leave me feeling good. Yeah, you have a good conscience. Yeah. But I think you really take ownership of things, and you really attribute the goodness in your life to the goodness that you are, which is beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about pick 3's relationship with their body. How does Spirit say your relationship with your body is? That you need a vacation. Maybe you're taking a rest right now. You're honoring your need for rest, perhaps. Or you do when you need to. Or you feel really weighed down right now. I think you feel really weighed down. And maybe you are suffering an illness that's causing you to take some time off of work and things like that. Oh, it's pointing my attention over to this miracle, and maybe there's like a healing that wants to come through, but it can't because you don't believe it would be possible. Because you've always had to do the things in order to get it done. And maybe you don't realize that you've accrued such good karma that now a healing from your highest self can come in and restore you. But you need to allow it. You need to rest, and you need to allow for that possibility in your mind, in your belief, in your reality. Let's talk about the overall self-care for pick 3. Pick 3's overall self-care. Yeah. When you want something, you go after it. You reach for it. You do what it takes to get it. So now that you are maybe suffering an illness or something that's put you out of commission and made things hard and burdensome, it's like you maybe feel disempowered because you can't do the thing you normally do to get the result you normally get. But you are being very patient, you know. You are very patient with yourself and others. That's beautiful. I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, anything else here about the overall self-care? Maybe you do believe it can happen, but you don't believe that it can come through a miracle. You're in a familiar place. You're in the comfort of home or something, like an established place, or you've moved home to like your parents' home, or like, you know, like back home or something like that. I think you're very established in where you're at, but maybe you do need a vacation to kind of break the monotony of, you know, the pattern you've been in, to see things from a different view. What about pile 3's creativity? How is the creativity going in their life? I'm just going to put those back in because they're all basically the cards that came in pile 2. Oh, this is interesting. Say yes to your open door. So I believe that you know that there's an opportunity for you. You're being very patient for it. It might be to move. Your effortless effort is fully required. Look, I mean, if that's not talking about a miracle, I don't know what is. So maybe because your body is not allowing you to do the things you wanted to do, you're using your mind to imagine it. You're being very patient, or with all the time you have, you're kind of imagining the possibilities and letting your creativity direct you towards solutions that may exist. Yeah, this is part of your awakening. You decided to wake up, or else why did you draw me? Perhaps you are using, like, doing some drawing and things like that. But your creativity, your mind, where your mind's going and the places that you're letting your mind go while you're in this position of feeling a little bit disempowered, is actually helping you open your mind to these possibilities that you wouldn't have even considered had things been going the way that they always went when you did that thing you always do. You contain the entire universe encoded within you. Yeah, you're totally awakening. Your awareness is expanding through your creativity, through being receptive, through the surrender that had to happen when you couldn't do it the way that you were doing it before. So let that imagination take things in. Let yourself be open to those new things that you're considering. It's all very beautiful. Okay, what does Spirit say about... What does Spirit have to say to you about things? What would Spirit like to tell you? Positive thoughts create positive results. And you may not be spending enough time outdoors. So some more time outdoors. I mean, it's pretty typical for Spirit to say that, right? But maybe this vacation needs to be had outdoors. If you can even just go for a sit outside in the sun, or, you know, if you can't go outdoors, there are things like grounding mats. I sleep with a grounding mat, and there's a cord that grounds into the ground and then comes into your house, you know, and I have it on as a pillowcase. So it's a way to bring the earth's benefits to you. But it is best to be outside if you possibly can, because all the appliances in the house vibrate at a certain level, and you kind of need to be outside of those to get the best connection. I get another card from the Starseed deck here, which is a very difficult deck to shuffle, in case you didn't know. Okay. Fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites, extremes of life. Yeah, so it's just asking you to surrender the things you used to believe about what's possible. Yeah. Child of the cosmos. Oh, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. We got that twice here. Twice from two different decks. You are the creator. You are the conduit for the universal knowledge. And it's coming through your innocence. This is child of the cosmos. Children are innocent. They're curious. They're willing to see things a new way. They're willing to try a new way. They're willing to realize they were wrong. They're really willing to realize there's more to know. Okay? And they're always growing. And what you're doing is making room for who you really are, your soul, and all of the experiences and wisdom that your soul has gained through its existence to come in to this body. And actually this might be taking a toll on your body, right? Because you're going to be harnessing a higher light. So the Spirit wants to give you this miracle healing, I believe, so that you can embody it, so that it can be here with you, right? So this is an opportunity for you to surrender what was holding you back from believing it was possible, okay? And some advice for pick 3. You got Black Panther, passion. Follow your passion. Your passion is going to be the desire you need, and once you have the beliefs in line, it's going to happen for you. Horse, freedom. You always have a choice. You have a choice about what you're believing. You have a choice about the timing of when you want to surrender. Rabbit, fertility. Your creativity is at a peak. Yeah, allowing that for yourself. And porcupine, innocence. I mean, just like a child is innocent, right? Free yourself of guilt and shame. Something that happens when you start to flourish and you start to not be weighed down by the burdens of the world. It's pretty common, I've found in speaking to other people on the spiritual path, is that you can sometimes feel guilty. It's like that survivor's guilt. It's like, well, I don't have to suffer anymore. And then you kind of look at the people that you love still in suffering because they haven't gone through an awakening like you have. And you start to, there's a part of you that just feels a little guilty for being so free. But this is saying, like, to free yourself of that, to allow that for yourself. Because in actuality, I know through experience that we can't change other people. Okay? I just had a flash of, oh my God, am I late for my appointment? I have to bring my granddaughter to her doctor's appointment today. Okay, I'm not late. Free yourself of the guilt and shame. So like we can't change other people, so all we can do is be an example to them of what is possible. That is the only thing we can possibly do to actually help others from their own suffering. So I'd say that's a good reason, and it helped me to know and understand that, to move on, from those kind of things that would hold me back. But even if it's not just that, anything in yourself that makes you feel guilty or shameful, it's time to free yourself. Abundance is your right. Allowing that in your belief. Abundance of anything, right? Like of whatever you want to create. You are a creator. I can see that you've been a creator, and that it may have been frustrating for you to come up against these blocks where it was like what you were doing wasn't working. But it just means that there's one little belief in there that's stopping you. Maybe it's that you're worthy of this miracle, that you're worthy of everything, that you want, everything that you're creating. You are never alone. to remember that you are a child of the cosmos. So even if you don't have a lot of people left around you because you're doing this for yourself and in this process, that's part of it. But you are not alone. You have a whole spiritual team. You have the whole of the cosmos. You have this creative passion wanting to come through you. Okay? Holding the opposites, extremes of life. You're experiencing extremes so that you can come into balance. Once you see both sides and see the relevance of both sides, that's when you can come into balance on it, right? Okay. All right. Yeah. I think we're gonna, all right, let's get one more. Don't relinquish your power. Yeah. Surrendering does not mean relinquishing your power. It doesn't mean that you don't still assert yourself where needed and have boundaries where needed. You do have a choice here. Your free will choice is a part of this equation, so you need your power. It's just that you have the power to decide to have faith also, to rearrange your beliefs to allow that possibility for yourself, right? To allow that there's something greater than you orchestrating this and that wants to come through you in a creative manner, and which will lead you to your abundance. Okay? Yeah, you're just working to get in the flow state. I think you've been there before. I think you just got to this little spot where it's like, all right, what is this? I feel very burdened right now. And when you feel alone, apparently there's a place on this journey where we realize, I didn't know this was universal. I know I had been through it, but until I watched a video of Amanda Lawrence on YouTube yesterday, I didn't realize it was kind of like a phase that everyone's going to go through, and that did make me feel a lot better, so I'll share that with you as well. And that is that this phase of realizing that no one understands you. That nobody, no matter what, is ever going to understand you and your perspective and what you understand and what your truth is. Not to the degree that you understand it, right? So when you're in those moments feeling very alone and desolate and like no one understands you and there's no one you can turn to, you're not alone. God, the universe, source is with you. That's who brings your miracle. So allow him in. That's when you're going to find him. That's when you're going to surrender it all. You're going to give it to him because he's the one who knows. That source, universe, whatever you want to call it, that energy knows because that is who you are. You are a creation of it. It is creating through you, and it knows your perspective, and it does understand, and it's the only thing that does, and it's the only thing that could. It's what created you. It is you. It's the energy that you use to experience. It's you experiencing yourself, an aspect of yourself, right? Okay, so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you're just going for another layer of the stuff that you've probably already dealt with on another layer, you know? That's all it is. You're doing great. Like that's why I feel like this reading touched on so many different little things and it didn't tie it in all into a theme, because it's like, you already know this isn't your first awakening, right? This is just a deeper level of awakening where you're going to awaken to God, the God in you, I believe. Okay? Yay. Exciting. Woohoo! Thank you for doing the good work. Thank you for being here on Earth. Thank you for spending your time with me. And I wish you well, and maybe see you on the next one.